Welcome to Lesson 6 in Unit 21, From Sun to Food. In this lesson, students will work together to answer the question, how are energy and matter passed between plants, animals, and the environment? In this lesson, students use food chains and food web models to explore how matter and energy move through an ecosystem. Students figure out that matter and energy flows through a food web, from the sun to producers to consumers. Students make connections to the storyline by learning how living things are connected by food. A pizza farm works like a pond ecosystem, and matter and energy moves through it from sunlight to plants to animals and people through food. There are several opportunities for ELA cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 21 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 days to complete. For the Engage portion, you'll bring out cups from the investigation started in Lesson 5 and have students record observations in the Decomposition Investigation Student Journal page. Please note that this should be 3 days or more from when they started the investigation. You'll then display the pond ecosystem and ask students questions about living and non-living things and energy and matter they see. You'll revisit the driving question board and add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to questions about how animals get energy or how energy gets from plants to people. You'll tell students that many farms have ponds, and a pond is an example of an ecosystem. You can post and discuss the ecosystem and consumer vocabulary cards. For the Explore portion, you'll divide students into 6 groups and give each a card set and pond poster. You'll encourage students to create a pathway of how matter and energy move in a pond ecosystem from one organism to another through their food. Students can use butcher paper or whiteboards to make their pathways. You might want to consider also giving them index cards with arrows drawn on them. Students create a simple food chain with energy arrows moving from prey to predator. See the pond ecosystem tutorial for an example. You can post and discuss the carnivore, herbivore, omnivore, food chain, and food web vocabulary cards. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion about their observations and learning from the activity. Use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, how are energy and matter passed between plants, animals, and the environment? The goal of this class discussion is to analyze student observations and learning about the flow of matter and energy in the pond ecosystem food web. You will use the discussion to create the Lesson 6 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that the plants used for pizza ingredients are producers that take in matter and energy from the environment. Matter and energy move from the plants into animals on the farm when they eat them, and people when they eat pizza made from the plants. You'll then read and discuss the book, Pass the Energy, Please. Use the Read Aloud guide to ask questions and discuss while reading. Please note that you'll start the book in Lesson 6 and finish it in Lesson 7. For the Elaborate portion, you'll ask students how what they've learned about matter and energy in the pond ecosystem connects to the pizza farm and what components they should add to their pizza farm models. They'll develop a Gotta Have It checklist for how to revise their models. You'll have students add to their pizza farm models and labeled explanations on the Pizza Farm Model Student Journal page. For the Evaluate portion, you'll put students in small groups to share their pizza farm models. They can use the Pizza Farm Model rubric student journal page and the peer feedback table tent cards to provide feedback to each other. You'll then have students complete the Quick Check Energy Diagram for Pizza Farm student journal page. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask students, what did we learn about how energy and matter are passed between plants, animals, and the environment? What additional questions do you have now? By the end of this lesson, students will have developed a model to describe how energy and matter move through a food web in an ecosystem. In Lesson 7, Students analyze the results from their decomposition investigation and figure out how decomposers break down the organisms after they die and recycle matter in ecosystems. For the optional Extend, you can have students research another ecosystem in their community or allow them to choose another unique ecosystem anywhere in the world. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.